Adventures of Sonic Episode 42, Mass Transit Trouble. Some lightning strikes near a green lake, and a boat is out of control in it heading for an iceberg field. The sailor calls out the secret weapon, and Sonic and Tails show up out of nowhere in a place they shouldn't be in, dancing up to them to pad out the episode. What are they doing here? All the major shipping routes on Mobius go through this place, and the lighthouse keep them safe. When the first one goes dark, the alarm goes off and the boat anchors itself. This causes everyone to get flung to the ceiling and somehow not get a concussion, and the sailor blames his subordinate for it when he just did what he was told. Sonic goes up to the lighthouse, and Coconuts is insulted by a Scottish civilian who's tied up. Sonic then shows up and sends golf balls at him. Apparently this is in the lighthouse, but it looks more like a typical base at Eggman's. Also, it's unrealistic that the Scotsman Mobian wasn't offended at Sonic imitating its accent. I mean, I guess I could imagine Sonic to be like that because he's carefree and reckless, but he's also supposed to be a good guy, and not an idiot. Someone sends out a help message over an old-fashioned radio. Sonic says that as long as the ship stays anchored, they'll be safe, so they can feel free to do something else. Coconuts pulls out some dynamite, and Sonic runs around, with his speed causing trouble by accident. Someone's taken over the control tower, and Sonic's shown to be tired from running at first, which is unrealistic. If any Sonic game had a stamina meter, everyone would be rightfully pissed. Tails impresses me by telling the civilian that Sonic's really busy and doesn't have time for mushy stuff.
Make me barf! Can't you see Sonic's really busy?
Sonic creates a tornado to save a plane and checks out the control tower where Scratch has people tied up. He gets up to them too easily, but Scratch says he got here too late. Then another radio message comes out for help. Sonic unties everyone, who somehow got their heads switched, but apparently it's fine. Tails says that Scratch got away. How do you know that? Infinite Point's Railroad Junction is on the other side of the planet, and Sonic and Tails are noticeably tired. We see Dynamite near a chair that's blinking with a light, and Scratch rides around in an Eggmobile mentioning something on schedule. Sonic runs into a turtle with a southern accent, and he says that 3 trains are heading for a collision. He says that, of course, every train on Mobius has to come through this one train station. How small is this one planet? The gravity would be very light then. Some dust gets thrown around, and Sonic acts exhausted and says he'll see what he can do. How did he save the day? Send some wind out with his speed? Sonic finds some more tied up civilians, and Grounder mentions a time bomb to Robotnik. Sonic says he's gotta rest. And then Robotnik sends out a message about fusion bombs being put in the most important complexes of Mobius. 5 minutes from now, they will detonate, bringing all Mobian transportation to a halt so no one could escape his tyranny, and his robot soldiers will control everyone. Again, maybe this should be allowed to succeed to make Robotnik a threat for the rest of the show. Am I seriously supposed to believe Robotnik anticipated Tails questioning him and worked that into his pre-recorded message? Robotnik, being a genuine threat for a change, gives away that Sonic will win by taunting that not even Sonic can be in 3 places at once, even though he has super speed. Sonic says he'll find the bomb at the train switching house in 2 seconds, but he can't find it inside or outside. He wants to check the train yard. Tails pushes over a table and finds the bomb. Realistically, the bomb would have been disguised, not painfully obvious. Sonic screams when Tails tries to hit it with a hammer, and Sonic thinks that the shock will set it off. He misses and hits his foot, but there's no consequences in the show, so he's not injured at all. When you'd think that would make him unable to complete the mission right there. Sonic runs all over the place and his sneakers turn red hot. This was on purpose, as Sonic stands near a bomb and says that it's loose. Huh? Seriously, why did this just light the dynamite fuses and blow them up? His victory was completely nonsensical. He says that he doesn't know what to do with the bomb, so he'll take it with him. Good thing people trust Sonic. I'm supposed to believe that Scratch needed to explain his plan to Coconuts multiple times. He says he planted a tripwire across the road, and he's gonna bury a bomb on the other side of the road, sending Sonic sky high. How are these robots confused by such a simple plan? Coconuts laughs at the phrase Sonic Boom for some reason, And since Sonic's ahead of schedule, the robots end up blowing up because Grounder didn't catch him, and Sonic reaches the airport and wastes time standing around and talking. The female civilian says she uses a metal detector to scan all the passengers, and she says to Sonic that he can use it to detect any specific kind of weapon he wants. That's one futuristic metal detector. He sets the power to max, which unrealistically causes it to jump around and become hard for him to deal with, eventually sending him on a chair in the airplane. I'm expected to believe that it thought Sonic meant a movie kind of bomb, so it took even longer to find the bomb for Sonic. Sonic could have just randomly run around every inch of the place at super speed without stopping, and he would have found the bomb sooner, without needing to know where he was going. There's no way he was moving at super speed while being dragged along by the metal detector. Sonic spin dashes around underground, and the chain of the boat breaks off, sending it towards the icebergs. If this show wasn't overly saccharine and unrealistic even for Sonic, we'd actually see Sonic fail in some way, because he's completely overwhelmed at this point.
No time. Gotta call on the radio. We've got to stop a train wreck at Infinite Point.
He spin dashes to untie some people and finds the third bomb. He then throws all the bombs at the icebergs, preventing the boat from crashing. It sure is a good thing that Sonic thought ahead enough to make the iceberg area his last stop. Sonic passes out while swimming around, which is realistic, and Tails is useful by saving him from drowning. Since when can Sonic swim? What happened to one of his greatest weaknesses? That should have been Tails flying him to begin with, but then we wouldn't have Tails look even more useful by saving him when he sinks. Robotnik then has an announcement, but it doesn't show that he has a backup plan that makes him still a threat. Instead, he's just now learning that his plan failed as Sonic's napping on the boat. While this was a great episode, having such great tension with Sonic being overwhelmed by bombs, it ultimately failed to make Robotnik a proper threat for the rest of the show. While it would have been dark, I feel like Robotnik should have been allowed to succeed to become a bigger threat for the rest of the show. Sonic managed to pull through without a single failure, despite 3 different bombs being in 3 different places, and him being exhausted. And even when he fell in the water, Tails happened to be right there to save Sonic. Why is the water green anyways? In any other continuity, it would be because it was polluted, but here there's green and pink water and no one questions it. Things started out very tense, and yet because Sonic's so fast, everything was fine. The big source of tension was simply that Sonic was exhausted.
I'll see what I can do.
Which isn't characteristic of him, but does make him more sympathetic. It's great to see him vulnerable for once so we can appreciate when he's cool more. Logically, Robotnik should just carry out multiple episodes' worth of plans at once and completely overwhelm Sonic. He basically already did that in this episode because each bomb was a different location from the rest. He could just build more robots if he needs the extra workforce. Which he didn't seem to because he just had Scratch, Grounder, and Coconut separate from each other. But I guess this Robotnik doesn't have the restraint to hold off doing a plan the minute he thinks of one, writing it down and saving it for later when he has other plans going on in the background. Considering how exhausted this plan made Sonic, logically Robotnik should just do plans like this from now on that completely overwhelm Sonic. But he does it because he'd win. Because meta logic. And that hurts his credibility. This wouldn't feel so off-putting if they didn't have a Sega mandate forcing even this version of Eggman to look like Robotnik when it clearly isn't suited to the design. Instead, he looks like an Eggman that's meant to rule over people as an evil dictator and isn't able to. Not that he's a good person and deserves it, of course, but in a meta-logic sense. Oh yeah, the Sonic Says message. That's about not riding your bike into the street and getting hit by a car, I guess. It's about riding your bike without sucking at it, I guess. I was so distracted and impressed by the episode actually taking itself seriously for a change that I completely forgot to mention this.